Hello, all my Trillium friends. How are you girls today?
Hello.
Fantastic. Hello.
Everybody's doing good. So today I just chose a word for our topic, and we kind of discussed some of this already, so maybe we can bring it up again. The word is radiance, and some of the notes I took after contemplating on this word was awakening hidden treasures, the sun, light, of course, and breakthrough. It's like a cellular breakthrough when we start to emanate radiance. And I also I wanted to point out that our body really feels this word. It really feels this energy. Hopefully, because we felt a lot of sun on us, so we know what radiance feels like. So when we hear certain words like that, we can awaken that within us. And it just reminded me, if we want to be radiant, then reminding me to bless our food and to bless our water. And radiance is a word that only seeks beauty. So what do you guys think of that? We talked about awakening and awakening things within us, awakening to certain specific archetypes and frequencies. That makes us emanate radiance. What do you guys think about that word?
I've shared this, I think, on a prior video, but when I was coming through my divorce and kind of moving into this new phase of my life that didn't know what I was going to be. I'm going to be alone. Things were really a lot of questions, and it's been a beautiful journey back to myself. But I actually started a business and called it Radiant Light Productions, and because the vibrancy of radiant and light, and I would make these glass necklaces, and you would wear them right on your thymus gland. And so it was kind of a way for women, myself included, to actually feel vibrant and alive and radiant and beautiful. And I had several people who would wear them over the years, and it kind of brought them from within themselves and hiding certain aspects, because you can't walk into a room and have a vibrant, bright, glowing piece of glass and not have it be noticed. And so, but some women weren't comfortable having that attention coming at them, but the attention could come at the necklace. Oh, that's so beautiful. And then they can accept it that way. And then it softened them. And I watched one woman in particular over a couple of years just really shift from the vibration of that. And that was my intention, was really to have light and radiance and that vibrancy help that to be illuminated within people, especially women who are trying to find themselves or feeling maybe alone or not worthy or unloved. I do love the word. I think it's just a beautiful.
And I love how much you create. Like, you create a lot of things. I wonder if it's like the things you create, there's this radiance that comes with it because it's built in with Christina's intentions, and you have such pure intentions, and there's so much beauty in the gifts you give. That's your
secret. Thank you. Yeah, and and because the arms are heart chakra, so if your heart, the center of everything, I believe, is the heart, and if you're giving love and it's coming through your hands, I mean, we were just talking about that, but everyone has a way to share gifts, and if you can find your way to do that, whether it's through a physical creation or movement or speech, but that is how I kind of express in the world and what I love to do in the world, whether it's through my therapy work and if I'm doing more hands-on kind of things or creating something. But yeah, I think that's very true.
I think it's important to point out that when you're doing that, because it's something that you truly love, and you literally are radiant. You can't dampen the radiance at all when you are doing that. And I think about that because we were just talking before how I've been told at least 3 times, and I know it's more than that, and of course in my lifetime, but how my gift or whatever is to harmonize different things. And so when Melanie had sent out the topic, like, let's talk about radiance, I was like, what? Like, I don't know. I had no clue. Okay, I'm just going to have to sit and think about this. Well, I just recently, over the Thanksgiving break, went through the most horrific experience that I haven't shared with you. And it was like life. It was pretty life threatening. Not, I mean, to me, but also to my loved ones and such. And it was out of this world. I mean, it was really not a good situation. And I didn't have to, but I did in some way. I had to just kind of sit back and not take the reins in trying to figure out a solution for what was going on. And then, so I just went really deep into meditation. I hadn't eaten and I hadn't slept, and it had been hours and hours. And all of the sudden, there was like the compression breakthrough. And it was like we were being told that this person that was being detained was being transferred. And I was like, that's it. I'm doing something now. And so I started to take action, and I started reaching out, and that's when all the harmonizing came about. It's kind of like if you can envision, I don't know, the mother spider or something sitting there, and then one little piece of the web going out, and then another piece of the web coming this way and going this way. And it was just like kind of moving and spreading all throughout, and over a matter of hours, how all of that came to fruition and how I was able to harmonize all that. And while going through all of these things, it was about at least a 72-hour or longer experience. I finally also came into my understanding how this is something I've been working through, that I'm not responsible. So people are going through these events, but they're their events, and I can't hold myself responsible or hang on to that, and take that on as my own pain. It's like, allow them to move through that in a way. So I'm working with those two things. And then Monday morning hit, and it was time for me to go teach my yoga classes. And so we had actually gotten some good news, and things were starting to come to a better light, but they weren't finished, and we weren't completely out of the dark with this situation. And so I just sat in meditation and reminded myself that, I've done what I can, that these other people are grown adults, and they're definitely responsible. And I came out of that, and I just felt really light, and I'm like, however I'm going to do it, I have to go, and I have to teach these classes now, today. And I'm not going to think about the challenge of doing that or even what I was going to teach that day. And I walked in, and two different women, two different parts of the room, they don't know each other, they didn't hear each other say it, looked at me and went, "You look just radiant."
Amazing.
And I was like, "Oh, I do, thank you. I mean, I feel good." And I thought, do I? I actually do. I knew I felt good. I was doing just as you described, Christina, as yourself. You're giving the love through your hands, through your arms, from the heart chakra. That's your loving energy. And I did my part, as well as everything that I could do to help with this situation and releasing the responsibility of it. And I literally felt myself physically lifted and okay. But then walking in there, those people saw that through me and recognized the radiance. And then I moved on to the next class, different location, different people. Same thing. "You look radiant."
Oh my God.
Oh, wow.
That's so funny. That's so great.
So that was it for my radiance.
I mean, they could have said anything. Beautiful.
Yeah, light, or
Yeah.
your vacation was great, or like something, but they didn't. It was just like they all got this feeling, and that was the word that came about.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing considering what you just been through, because that was like anything but what you would think would make you radiate, like I also
Right.
think it puts you into like a dark, hard, difficult spot. So that's phenomenal that, even in one of the, maybe the most difficult situations, your radiance is what really shined through. And that's where that harmonizing came in. So that's amazing, I think. So because it's easy to radiate when everything's going great and life is wonderful and blissful and blah, blah, blah. But when you can radiate in the most difficult times, that's when it's so powerful. And that's when I think it truly shifts realities.
I think that was the big piece of it, was understanding how dark and difficult, life-threatening, I mean, awful. I mean, really, really awful. And many people, you know, look at that, the situation, they're just like, you know, I haven't talked a lot about it. And it's like, they can just see only the darkness of it. But going through that and then figuring out, you know, how to fix or how to help and what to do and who to call upon and how, you know, all of that came about, that's where I felt the best. Like, yeah, this, it's all going to be okay, you know, and it may not have all been okay. I didn't know that it was going to be okay, you know. So
I think you really harness that divine flow in that moment of, in that time of radiance too. Like it just totally tapped you into that divinity. So everything flowed in the direction of creating a very difficult situation to harmonizing it into something that somehow miraculously all worked out, because that could have really, really been a really bad situation that, like I said, could have gone on for years, that was harmonized within days. So pretty awesome that you held that energy in that space for that to, you know, manifest the way it did. So for me, I think radiance is something that we bring out from our within, you know, like it radiates from us and then it like reflects onto others. And I think it comes from being like truly in love with yourself, that fully authentic self, like fully loving that and then fully embodying that. And then as we connect with others, it brings that radiance out of them, which is why they end up feeling good in your space. And so people like, oh, you're radiating. And it's like, yes, because it's like we bring out this light in each other that then suddenly it's like reflecting all these mirrors in a room to where a whole room will light up just by even one person like fully embodying their own divine radiance, you know? So I feel that when I'm being fully authentically me, that's when my energy does radiate. And it's like, it's very attractive to people and they don't even realize why. It's like this unconscious attraction that they have. It's just like I had a gal, I was doing just this booth at, back when I lived in Springville, and I was just doing my healing. And this gal comes up to me. She's like, I don't know what it is about you, but I know that I'm supposed to talk to you. She's like, I saw you from a distance and you were just glowing. Aww. And she said, I knew you had answers for me. And I was like, I'm thinking, oh, good, I'm on the spot now. I hope I do, you know? And I said, well, tell me about yourself. You know, she started telling me how she'd been suffering with, what's it called? What's that disease they have here in Arizona, Krystal, that you can get from the dirt?
In your lungs.
It's like a bacterial infection. I can't think of the name of it.
The spore that goes in your lungs. And
yeah, that one.
I've never heard of that. Whatever. Okay,
well, it's something that you can get in Arizona, and it's like a fungal bacterial type thing. And gosh, the name was almost in my head. Anyways, it'll come to me in a second. But
valley fever.
Valley fever. Yes, valley fever. So she's like, I've suffered with this for 16 years, and she's like, I'm pretty sure I'm dying, and I don't know what to do. And so I said, well, I can do what I do, and we'll see, you know, if it will help you. And so we started working together, and ended up being like, you know, a year of working together. But she fully healed. Now she works at the wellness at a wellness store in Spanish Fork, Utah, where she still lives in Springville now. And now she tells everybody, she'd call everybody her miracle that, you know, helped her heal. But really, she helped herself heal. Really, her own divinity was guiding her to whatever answer she was seeking, you know. And I think as we stand though in our truth, we will radiate to those who are searching for whatever gifts we have, whether it's our healing abilities, whether it's our art, whether it's, you know, whatever it is. I remember this came through in a channeling for Christina, how her art literally held healing energy just by having it on people's walls because of the love energy it contained within it. So it's like there's so many ways you can radiate your inner truth just by being you. You know, and it's really just truly being authentic you where that shines through and the magic happens. It's not by learning a trade or learning. I mean, that can be part of it, something that you learn, but it's like that innate space of how it expresses is from within, no matter what modality you're using on the outside. It's all coming within, expressing in whatever way, physical way it's expressing.
I have another example of that, and it's just like Christina's. It's with Kim and her flow art. And this lady, she's been going through divorce and some other things going on, and that's really held her attention a lot. And so we were talking to her about, well, what is it you really want to do? Well, I really miss my painting, but I just can't do that right now. So the conversation went on, and I said, well, let me see your stuff. And she started to talk about it. And through talking about it, she shared with me how she had made these pieces, and there were these two pieces that went together, and this woman purchased them, and they were just beautiful. She showed them to me. And later, months later, this lady came back to her and said, thank you so much for your art. And she's like, well, of course, you know, no problem. And she says, no, you don't understand. I don't remember what her illness was, some very serious illness. I honestly don't know what it was, but it was life-threatening. And she just said, you know, I don't know what to do. She sat in front of Kim's paintings and meditated on the visualization of it and everything, and it completely, she's healed now. And Kim doing her art, I asked her, well, how long does it take you to do one of those, you know? And she said, well, and she described the whole process of how she brings her Reiki into it, and she blesses all of the paints, and she, you know, everything, the whole process of this. And then she goes, but then it takes me about, you know, maybe 20 minutes or so to actually just physically paint it. But it's hours of prep, you know, that brings all that energy into it. And then she has this beautiful artwork. And I know, Christina, you can relate to all of that. But again, that's her, like, her talent, her gift that's from within her that, you know, she can share. Her radiance.
Love is love. And if it's something that you look at and it makes you feel love, if it's something you listen to and it brings you to tears, if it's something that if it's a movement you do, it really doesn't matter. It's whatever speaks to you in that moment, that it's the vibrance of each of us that is the collective that some people are choosing to step into and express. And like you said, Randi, I think we know, on a higher level or a conscious level, we know that feels so good and right. And so the more people that just do that and just are themselves authentically, as we've talked about many times, it's just such an important thing, because you are a unique expression. Your energy, your codes, your DNA is a completely unique expression of a perfect whole. And there's no one else that can be you. And so when you do that, no matter where you are, you can't help but feel that. It's just really.
Now
I was doing coaching today. So I was doing coaching with the guy, and he's a hairdresser. And he was talking about just when he washes people's hair, how he literally knows he's doing healing work with them. And he's like, I'll feel energies come through my hands that I know exactly are what this person needs for healing. And he's like, and then sometimes I'll get this little tingle in my ear, and he's like, and then he starts channeling. He didn't even know it was called. It's like, these words just come through that are like meant to be said. And he's like, So it sounds weird, but I don't even know where it's coming from. But it's like this profound information. I'm like, I do understand. I know what that's like. It's like, it's literally just moving through you. And it's like you become this conduit of this movement. He's like, yeah. And I said, yes, that is a powerful gift. And so it does, like I said, it doesn't even matter what you're doing. If you're a hairdresser, if you're, and even if you're a mechanic, you know what I mean? You can literally share that energy with the car that then is driving people and sharing that energetic vibration that you gave to it, just with being in love in each moment that you're doing whatever it is you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
I love this whole life unfolding thing. We're all discovering our gifts, right? And I love the four of us and how we're all gifted in such different ways. And we're discovering it. And we're not trying to be like each other or anything. We're just trying to find ourselves and supporting each other. I love that. It's so cool. Aside from blessing our food and our water, how are we getting to this point where we're uncovering our gifts? Like, I think for me, it's all about getting real. And instead of looking at the external world and like over analyzing their lives and what other people are going through, or seeing their flaws, it gets easy to see their shadows, you know, and because it's getting easier to see my own shadows. And I think that's kind of how I'm getting more radiant, is turning it back, you know, on myself and looking within and just getting real. And sometimes that means very uncomfortable things like looking at our patterns that are like, ooh, oh my gosh, how many years have I been doing that, you know? Getting real, but it makes us more radiant. So it's so worth it. But, you know, I'll have tears sometimes when I think about maybe the effects of my bad behavior, or the days when I used to be more religious and I was kind of spiritually confused and I would judge others. And it's just sort of horrifying to think that I played out some of those patterns. So is that how you guys have gotten more radiant, by looking at some of your own shadows and your own old patterns or current patterns? Is that how you guys would say we're getting more in touch with our gifts, or are these things you guys have been tapped into your whole lives?
For me, it's definitely basically sitting in your own shit, you know, and looking at that.
I like that.
And it's super uncomfortable. And then once you move past that, you recognize that connection with the divinity more and more and more. And the more that you can sit and feel that connection and realize it's not something outside of you, but just in you, embedded in you. And you recognize the power in that. And that when you stop with, you know, the judgment of all the other people or the situations, but the judgment of yourself, you know, it's layers and peeling off all those layers, but then truly sitting down and just reminding yourself, and I think we'd all do that well with each other in this group, but reminding ourselves that we are sitting in our own power, that we have our own gifts, that, you know, we each question them in some way at some time, but we remind each other of the power of those. And it's not through, well, you know, well, look at how good you are at this or how good you are at that. It's more of, well, how does this make you feel? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel more supported? Do you feel less supported? Do you feel weak? Do you feel sad? Do you feel happy? You know, what, and looking at those emotions and where they sit with you, I think is helpful, you know, and how we do that with each other, to recognize that.
And I think the big important part of that too is it's like the authentic self. It's being truly in harmony with the authentic self, which isn't this ego-based program of look at me and what I can do, but more of a, this is who I am and I just am this, and trusting in that energy and truly being that, and then it won't come across as ego or you know, I'm just trying to show you how great I am or anything else. It comes across as that radiance, versus you've seen people who try maybe to be radiant, but it really just comes across as egotistical, and you know that it's for them, it's all about them, where this is just, yeah, it's still all about you, but it's truly about, this came up at our retreat too, it's about being self-centered, which means truly centered within self, the divine authentic self, And as we're truly centered in that, that radiance that expresses out doesn't come across as egotistical, but it truly comes across as the divine manifesting through you. And I think that's a really important differentiator, because we always like, oh, is it humble if I embrace my gifts and truly like just fully express myself without care of how it's accepted? Or does that come across as egotistical if I say, yeah, I have these gifts that I'm sharing, blah, 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 and just doing it. And so I think it's really when it comes from that true, authentic space of unconditional love of the self and just truly doing what you're here to do, then that's that radiant space. And Krystal does it in her yoga class. It's like, I go to her, she's awesome. She just started doing this yoga nidra on Thursday nights. And it's like just being in that room with her energy is healing. Yeah. I don't even know what she says, because I'm pretty sure I fall asleep or something, but I'm like in this deep trance the entire time, and I wake up and feel magnificent, and I don't even know what was said, you know? And so it's like there's power in all of that, just in that being you. It's so healing to be in the energy of people who are just authentic, because I think that's really, truly so rare, because everybody's wearing a facade of some sort. Not everybody, but a lot of people are, and they're afraid of that authentic self because they're afraid of the judgment. Where when you truly let go of that and you just be you, and whatever that feels in the moment, that's not something you're forcing or whatever, you're just being it, that's healing power.
So if you bring that up, and that to talk a little bit about that was hard for me to decide to take that class, because it's a 6:30 evening class. And years ago, when I stopped working at my other position, I was like, I'm not doing that. I'm not working nights anymore, weekends. And this opportunity came up. And even last night, it was my husband's birthday. And I was just like, oh, I'm not going to be home, like it's your birthday. And then I thought, you know what? I want to do this so badly. Like, this is where I really want to be for me. That I just felt so great, going and teaching the class. But I think that's where the radiance shows up is, you get that pull. This is I've been with, married for 25 years. It's like, I want to be with my, spouse on his specific birthday and, this time. But I didn't feel like this is something I have to go and do, darn it, and just felt disappointed. I just felt like, no, this is truly where I want to be. And so I felt the radiance in that.
Mm-hmm. So really, we agree. It's an emanation. It's an emanation. And then we each have our own gifts to express that emanation as a service to others. I love that.
Well, and I think what you said is key. It's where she wants to be. Like I think when you're doing things that make your heart sing, mm-hmm. then you radiate that. And you truly, your whole being expression is like your song or your dance or whatever it is. And I made a decision just not that long ago that I wasn't going to do anything anymore that didn't bring me joy, that I wasn't going to invest any energy into that, because why should I? And so I just started saying, I'm just going to do what brings me joy. And I've been doing this emotion code, which I just absolutely love. And that's really just one tool I use. And of course, my sessions, I do coaching and channeling and cards and whatever comes up that I feel like doing in the moment. But man, I just like, my days are just so filled with joy working with people. And this one guy just loved me. Well, I have a lot of these guys work with, they just keep sending me something like, oh, you got to talk to her. You got to talk to her. And it's like, all I'm doing is being me. And every single appointment is like lighting up my life as well as helping someone else. And so I just feel like so blessed to be in this space every day now, where I literally can't wait to do what I do, because it brings me so much joy, and I see it reflected back to me in the joy and the upliftment and the others that I work with. And it's just truly makes my heart sing. So I radiate in it.
It's so great too, because you really wanted to be with your kids, and this is a way to, even though you're doing mostly like donations of love, you manifested a way where you can still be around them and without having to go out and get a job. And
it's been cool. I've been making great money in donations too. So it's just been so awesome to you know, just allow that energy to flow that way. And it's just been amazing. I can't even describe it.
Isn't it such a great shift? I mean, we're all aware of what's happening geopolitically, and it's like we're doing something about it. You know, we know the world has a lot of pain and wounding right now, and we know it, we see it all around us. And like us stepping into our power is how we heal this whole situation. Even though it's nice to see, you know, there might be some things structurally happening on this planet that will help transmute this, but each of us really ultimately are responsible for that, and especially in our own lives.
Well, and along that note, it was really cool today. One of the guys I was working with, it wasn't even a regular appointment. He's like, I just need to talk to you. And he started telling me all these, well, he just said, I'm just feeling all this pressure. And so I said, let me just tap into the energy that you're feeling. And so I just was able to identify everything he was feeling. And I said, honestly, I don't know the answer to this. And so I said, maybe let me just do a channeling and see what comes through. And what came through, speaking of like these energies that are healing, it said it's just about allowing the flow to move. It's about undamming the flow of the energy. And then it said it will heal like a river. And it said as a river moves, it naturally purifies itself. And so it said as we open our flow to the universe, to love, to all of these things, it'll just naturally purify us from within. And I said, and then it said all he was feeling was those energies kind of bubbling up as the energies were moving through him, purifying him. It brought it to the bloodstream to be felt temporarily. But if instead of like saying, oh my gosh, what's wrong, and then blocking that flow, he just allows to feel it and move, then that flow will naturally purify him. And I think that's what we're experiencing on a planetary level, is that truly radiant flow of the divine flowing through and just being a purifying energy just as we allow it to flow without really having to do anything but be part of that flow. So we don't have to overthink it and try to figure out all the answers and all the systems and everything. Like all of that will kind of naturally go into place as we just gently allow ourselves to be part of the flow of that energy. We'll feel how we fit in, what our gifts are, where we radiate, where we contribute. And it's just a phenomenal thing, instead of having to be in this mind space of, okay, what do I do? How do I make a difference? You know, it's like, it just naturally, it just happened for me so organically, just the moment I stepped into that flow and just let it go.
Yeah. We just got to become vessels for source, and it's effortless from there, and take inspired action. Okay, so I thought we would wrap it up with the question cards, and I just pulled this one, and I love it. It's what inspires me. So I thought we would each answer that question before we sign off. And I guess I'll start because I feel bad putting you guys on the spot like that. What inspires me? I mean, it's just what we're talking about. What inspires me is different in each moment. I mean, I'm starting to see patterns of what are continually inspiring me. Learning and good music and moving my body, speaking my truth. I love learning from brilliant people. Oh, and contemplation, which means learning from myself, going within and learning. So that's been my favorite. My best inspiration is coming within. You know, I do get light bulb moments from my favorite teachers and those in the external world, but it's been really exciting, and I've been inspiring myself. So that's what inspires me. What about you, Christina, Randi, and then Krystal?
Yeah, I mean, I think just connecting with people and in situations where I really can be authentically myself, as we've talked about many times, because that's really what I want to be in the world. I don't want to be hiding. I don't want to be shielding. I just want to be able to be who I am. So this kind of thing is inspiring because it's real, it's vulnerable, it's honest, it's not in competition. I also love, I'm inspired by ingenuity and being around people that can create and birth whatever that is, whether it's a line of products or a creation. I just love the actual inception and creation process. And so that's very inspiring for me, watching things shift and grow and morph into something beautiful and into something more real is very inspiring.
Love that.
Gosh, what doesn't inspire me? You gals all inspire me, and
actually, what doesn't inspire you? I'm curious about
right? I don't even know. Like, I get so inspired by so many things. I guess I'll share just one thing that's kind of inspiring me right now in my life. I've been reading the Sophia Code and like working with that, and that has been like super inspiring to me because it truly validates so much that I've like been downloading and learning over these last like 3 years. And it just like kind of brought it all into one book, which is just phenomenally channeled. So I highly recommend it. And it's been super inspiring to me, and just, and opening me up in miraculous ways. So
you know
that's inspiration right now.
Is it a
Kaya Ra is Kaira? No, Kaia, and then second word is Ra. RA is the name she goes by. The Sophia Code. Yep.
Cool.
It is an amazing story. I recommend it. So what inspires me is you. And I have been part of another book study group for many years. And in this book study group, it was brought up, and I don't recall the person that said it. One of the people in the group said that it was me that said this saying, but we have written it down, each of us that are in this other book study group. And the saying is, all there is to do is the next right thing. All there is to do is just the next right thing. And I think to myself, yeah, okay. And my daughter's going through things, and I just sent her that message. I sent her a screenshot of it. And I don't normally, like if I go to see movies or something, it's just going to be streaming through my television. I don't really go. But Randi has been asking, you want to go see Maleficent too? I'm like, okay. I've learned to say yes, to invitations. So the last one was Frozen 2. Never in a million years would I go to see that in the movie theater. I did. And what is one of the messages in the movie? Here she is. What's her name? Not Elsa. I'm not sure which one.
It was Anna. Yeah.
All there is to do is the next right thing. And it was like repeated throughout the movie. And then the power of water and memory that water holds is throughout the movie. It was just like.
And even the flow of the river. Remember, it was all about undamming that flow, and that would be the healing power. And I just knew that movie had so much in it that was like powerful. So totally, we were just all.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that was that you guys had talked about that in your book club so much. That is so cool, because that was like an underlying theme of the whole show.
The whole show. In fact, my daughter had seen the movie and she was waiting. She wasn't going to say anything to me until I actually saw it. Yeah. I came home and went, what? And she said, I know. So, but it's because of you. That's what inspires me to do these kinds of things, right? To go and to see a Disney movie in the theater, or to have these discussions, is because of you, each of you, to kind of remind and to bring that out. So you all are so inspirational to me. So thank you.
You guys inspire me too. All right. Well, until next time, I love you guys.
All right. Love you all. Have a great day.